Message.
Yes. You ready to go, folks?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to, I don't know, just a Geekverse special review. Maybe a Thought Bubbles review.
Thought Bubbles?
If so, yeah. I am Mrs. Voorhees' special little baby boy, Travis Snell.
I thought you were going to go with actually Mrs. Voorhees. I'm like, that's
Nope,
kind of
I'm a man.
I'm Mr. Voorhees. Mrs. Voorhees. I'm one of the Voorhees. Vorhai. Dilmas.
The Voorhees clan. And then finally, we're joined by...
I'm the Deborah Deacon Dangler Survivor Taylor Field.
So apparently, if you've never played this game, you have no idea what that nickname is.
Deborah Deakin Dingling Survivor.
See,
why'd you have to say Survivor? Why didn't you think of something that ended with D, like Destroyer or
I don't know if I do much
Dominator
Destroyer.
or I don't know. Destroy Jason?
Game.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. If you haven't guessed by our nicknames, or if you haven't guessed by the title down below,
The nicknames were a shit show, so I don't blame you.
That's true. Sometimes you can usually catch on. Mine, I thought starts on a good path, but they kind of went a little all over. But
right.
Either way, we are reviewing Friday the 13th news video game, which actually I checked. It's last month in May. It was like for PS4 digital was second behind Injustice, so it's selling very well.
It's still like I was just on Twitch like an hour ago, and it was still like in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still up there in the viewer count.
Swiffering the nation.
Swiffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've played.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
What?
You should say sweeping the nation. Swiffering is brand name.
No,
Yeah, he's got a point.
we're sweeping the
I don't
nation.
have a point.
Remember, insider note,
I just feel like
we're about to go see The Mummy, and we're like, oh, we'll make this a quick short view between you guys' nickname banter.
We're
and
at
your
5
banter.
minutes.
Yeah, we're no, it's only 2. But Dylan, what was your overall thoughts of the games? You played it a few times. If you want, you can go and look. On Twitch we have a stream of it. This will be coming out before E3, so I think we'll be doing some E3 streaming as well.
Yes.
If we have some.
Yeah,
free time.
I don't. You guys own the game. I do not. So I've played as counselors probably like 8 matches, and then I have 1 match as Jason. So I don't have a whole lot. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But overall, I think it's it's a pretty fun game to play with your friends and stuff. But like even after playing the little amount we did, like I would never see myself buying this game. I don't think it's worth $40 or $50. I think if it didn't have the Friday the 13th name on it, I don't think anyone would be playing it because I don't think it's that great of a game.
I think that's fair.
I think it's kind of it's a fun experience and playing with your friends, and I think being in a lobby with all your friends would be really good. But as a game, it's like, is it still an alpha or beta, or is it officially?
No, it's done.
It's official.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it could be like a beta. Like it's really buggy, really glitchy. I mean, there's 3 maps, but they're pretty much all the exact same. Like I feel like this is like it's at too much of a value for $40 or $50. It should be like a $15, $20 game in my opinion. And I think so. I think it's okay, but I think in like a month or 2, like it'll just be dead. I don't think anyone will be interested in it anymore. Like just maybe play like one game like every once in a while or something. But I just don't see like any depth. Right? It's a very simple game. Like I guess that's my overall. We'll talk more about some details later. But yeah.
Well, for myself, I think I have to agree with you. Like, there is lots of bugs. There's lots of glitches. Patch came out, so I fixed up. But for a while, the sessions were a big problem as far as getting into matches. You'd have to wait a while and whatnot. No way is it like this great masterclass of like game making. But it might be my game of the year as far as funness. Like, that's the thing. Like, for me,
it's better than Horizon Dawn.
For fun.
Really?
Just for fun alone. Yeah, because Horizon Dawn to me is a different experience. That's like watching an Academy Award movie. Like, this is really well made and really fine-tuned and every little thing is thought out. This is like a fun, cheesy B-action movie, where it's like, it's I Am Wrath. Not everything's working right. Not all the gears are turning like they should be, but you're having a great time while you're playing it. You do bring up a good point about the 2 months. I will be interested to see in there. But so far, where I'm the reverse for, because when I bought it, I was the same of like, okay, I'm a huge horror fan. I love Friday the 13th. I own all of them. They're somewhere around here. Oh, damn, they're in the other room. But I have a great big box set.
Fraud.
I have a great big box set. And for me, there it is. Yeah, see, right there. I got all of them right there. One day we're going to watch every single one. We talked about it a long time in the future. But for me, it was the thing of I bought it because of that. I'm a big fan of the series. It was like, could this be a regret of my money? Spending this full amount to play this game. Could I be regretting it after? And I haven't. That's where I agree. Maybe it could be cheaper, but at the same time, I don't feel like me spending like my $40 or $50 I'm not regretting that because the fun that I've had so far was worth it. If I wouldn't have had so much fun, if it was overly too buggy, like the sessions thing was.
Well,
the part
I think
that did
that's one
bug
thing
me.
I should have mentioned is that like if you're a fan of the Friday the 13th movies, I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know who Jason is. He's like one of the most iconic horror like people of all time. But obviously, if you're a fan, you're gonna instantly just like it more, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point where I'd say that's where I think if you're a big fan of this series, and we'll get into it just a bit more later, my biggest pro is I think the actual like lore and the backstory and the Jason mythology, they take so much care of that and they really make it, and obviously they're huge fans. They made this game originally as like a tribute to, and then they got the license. So to me, you can tell there's a lot of love put in the game. Not everything works, but that's the biggest thing. That is a good point of if you are a Friday the 13th fan, I think this is a must. Some people, it goes back and forth, especially reviews are very all over. Some are very high, people are praising it, and then there's lots of scores that are like below fail because of like bugs or glitches. So I can see that, but it's almost the same way with you guys with like Fallen Bethesda, where it's like, oh, because Bethesda, you can give them a little pass sometimes for the glitchiness and bugs. That's the same thing with this.
I don't think Fallout 4 is that great. I'll say that.
No, but when we originally reviewed it, that was the thing about the glitches and the bugs. You guys were like, oh, but it's Bethesda, so it's all good. That is like this for me, where it's like, there is glitches and bugs, but it's like, oh, it's Friday the 13th, and for me, and this is my last point before I throw it to you, there's no scenario, I hope, in my life where I'm going to be, one, hunting down 9 people to kill them, or trying to escape from a huge madman to save my life. When you watch those movies, it's such like a fun, thrilling experience. They are some of the classic horror movies. And I think that's my biggest pro is this makes it feel like you are in a movie. That's what I'm worried about because sometimes I saw a video game, awful. You do not feel like you're in Saw the movie. It's very clunky. It's very boring. With this, you literally feel like you're in the movie. And to me, you're never gonna get that experience anywhere else, right? You're not gonna like maybe they can pay you some guy to chase you and your friends around, but like I think this is a unique game for that sense. I know there's other like murder games out there, but for Friday 13th and Jason specifically, that's what it was. Because like, oh, I feel like I'm actually in a movie, and I don't gotta worry about dying, you know. Because if I'm in this situation in real life, something bad has really happened to me. So I like that I can plug in and play. So that's my overall.
Plug in and play. Hashtag it.
You know, a lot of the points that you had said, Dylan, I feel like I'm on the other side of the bench there.
About the bugs?
No, not about the bugs.
Oh.
But the other things. Like,
I'm like, how are you gonna defend
the bugs, I agree. There's lots of bugs.
Dylan, I love the bugs. I love getting kicked out of parties.
But I mean, as for like overall, like in 2 months, I think the community will still be going strong for that game. I feel like it's only gonna get better.
I'm not sure, but I'm more
like it's a very, very, very simple game. Right?
But it's the fact that they weren't expecting to do so well in the first place, and I feel like as it progresses and they release a few more things for it, I think that it's gonna pick up.
But
because a lot of people are like you, where in the sense they weren't sure if they wanted to drop the money on it, and they see there's all these problems with the game, so I'm glad I didn't spend my money on it. But when it's all fixed, I think they're going to. If it's on sale for like $20 or whatever on line, then people are definitely going to pick it up.
Then if we were doing over under, maybe I wouldn't go 2 months because he's right. Some people may pick it up after server issues. Like Kirkland has said, like once he's done this game he's playing, he's gonna Friday 13th. I'd go maybe 4 months then. That would be my thing. I think 2 months you still have hype E3. People are gonna be talking about around there, and as the patch continues to fix things, I think that'll help. So I'll say not 2 months, but I'll say 4 months. I could see this because it is a basic game. I could see us going back to it for like a Halloween stream, or like we talked about on Friday 13th, they'll probably do some like DLC or something fun. But it is kind of a one-trick pony in that sense. So that's where I am leaning a bit more towards Stillwater. Maybe not 2 months, but I could see it dying off eventually here. I could see it, like I said, always Halloween. Oh, Friday 13th is in the top 5 for Twitch again, right? Because it's like, oh, this is a fun thing. And I do think it's a fun thing to play with friends. Like, we've done it. Even with, like, Emily, I can say, like, when I've been playing, it's fun for her to watch because it's, even when you're dead, it's just fun seeing stuff happen. So
I find that, like, when we first like checked out the game like a long time ago, I was getting really excited for it. But then when you brought to my attention, like it may never come out, may never see it, like all these other things, like
just because it's a Kickstarter game,
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, and then like when they released the trailer for it, like it started to seem more real. I thought this is actually really, really awesome, and I'm very much into games. Like I want to get Dead by Daylight. That's another one where you're a serial killer and you're killing people. Like it seems very much like a kind of new kind of trend they're getting into, and I think it's really cool. So when you pointed out though that you wanted to wait and see how this game would do, I
And
kind
I
of.
didn't.
You didn't, and I didn't. I didn't
wanted
either.
to-
I mean, I kind of.
No,
did.
you
I
did. You
kinda
got
did.
to play
But
at least.
I really wanted to play it and get it, but what your opinion kind of rubbed off on me because I was kind of worried because it is still expensive. It is $40.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's not a full price game. But after playing it with you, I was done. I'm like, I have to buy this.
It's addictive if you're a fan of it because, like I said, you feel like you're in that world. And I do think, like you said, I think once you explore everything, once you find a way to kill Jason, that might be it. That's what I am wondering with if they do DLC and whatnot, if they're going to add more, like another map or something to it. Because that's the only way I could see it growing still is if they continue to add to it. I think this is a game they could do it because that's a good thing with Kickstarter games. Sometimes they don't have like a developer that they have to abide by, right? So they could do whatever they want. Will
or
they do
could
that?
Cash out and
Yeah.
the next game.
Will they do that? I don't know.
I
but
think they could because it's a sense where they have like the Savini.
Tom Savini,
It's Tom
yes.
Savini. It's like they have that Jason that they made up themselves, so they can make up whatever kind of
But
content.
that was,
they
I think, was a
want.
Kickstarter goal. So that was at the beginning them saying like, "Hey, we plan on doing this." My thing is, and they have DLC. They've talked about that. My thing is, in the 2 to 4 months, once that stuff's all gone, is it like, oh, we're gonna continue supporting this, or it's like, oh, we're moving on to the next thing? Because they could, because it is very successful. Like it's selling very well, so good for them. Because they even said like their expectations were blown for. That's why. I think it's a lie, but that's why they said they're having server problems because they said they didn't expect like this amount of people.
Right.
Which that's why I think it's kind of a lie because even though you don't expect that it had the Friday the 13th name on it, so I thought there was enough Twitch streamers and whatnot.
Right.
And
Well,
people
if they're like a small company
true,
and they had to get like a Kickstarter to actually get this game going, then I could totally see them not trying to like overcompensate with servers because that costs money, right?
yeah, true.
And you know, if they just put every last dime they could afford into making the game itself,
Mhm.
they might not have had like extra cash flow to just
True.
fire a bunch of servers, right?
I guess for me, I just wonder because the game started as like Camp Murder or something like
Yeah.
that, and then they got the IP. So I wonder, was it just they just got the rights, or did that company help them out at all and be like, "Hey, because
Right.
we have our name, this we'll support you a bit," or was it just like, "Oh, you can use Jason and everything, you're just still on your own," you know? Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's not like a bad Friday 13th game is gonna hurt the company that owns it. Like they've had enough terrible Jason movies. To be
Yeah,
like they've had. It's
exactly.
not gonna be like, oh, it's not like Star Wars, right? Where it's like you hear nothing about. Other than Battlefront, we hear nothing about those other games, and that's where it's like, oh, we gotta protect Star Wars. Where no one's protecting Friday the 13th.
I
So.
find it like they must have put a lot more work into it if they were already creating something like Camp. What was it? Camp.
Well, I think it was pretty much the same game. I think they just had to change like the skin of it.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking. Because I mean, the whole game is so detailed in the Jason Voorhees kind of universe. So if they already built another game from the ground up, I mean, I was gonna say that if they just had to reskin it, then that's a good thing because they.
I think
done
there's
a great
little things
job.
like when you go see his mother at the end, like that's what they added. But I think probably most of those, and they probably did maybe a map different because that barn is from Friday 13th Part 2. So there's probably still, I don't mean like they just put a skin, but I mean like I bet they still could use the big build of what the game was before, right? And add upon
Yeah.
it. They could easily just had an empty space and be like, oh, let's put that barn there from the second one, right? Because it's just a barn. It's pretty easy to do. So
Well, I think like in terms of the game lasting, like the developers, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what their track record is, but
I'll take a look.
in terms of the gameplay, how do you guys think that'll last? Because it seems like, you know, obviously everyone wants to play as Jason. That's like why it seems like that's why a lot of people play the game is that you can, you know, wait until you get to play as Jason. I feel like playing as the counselors is like, it's just okay because you can't really, like, it's very reliant on like luck, right? It's you finding the items to escape, or else you just have to wait out the timer. Like I don't know.
There is some as far as you can choose. Like if you're like you could crawl walk the whole time and you'll do a better chance of surviving, right? But then if you do that, you are gonna do more of the like outlasting the time. Like if you're slower and whatnot. So there's play styles, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's too wide.
I don't know. It just seems like it seems very shallow to me and like very luck dependent, which is fun. Like at first when you're first playing it for your first couple weeks or month or something, but I feel like that's gonna get. I just feel like that's gonna get boring. I don't think people are gonna like that a whole lot. And obviously people are gonna love playing as Jason.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously you don't play as Jason most of the time. Well, I mean, I'm sure you could make private lobbies and invite people and figure it out that way. But
Yeah.
if you're just playing quick play and you don't have any friends who own the game and you just have to rock the quick play life, then you're just gonna get like the Jason every once in a while.
Well, that's where I would say it is probably different with the counselor thing, because I think if you are doing quick play, it's based on luck. But I think if you're doing private match, there's still luck, of course, with the stuff you're finding and everything. But I think it's not there is more strategy when you're talking to people and whatnot.
Right.
Even when I never had a mic, but even when I did private match, you'd hear people talking of like, "Oh, we have the gas. Like we like next person finds the item, you can get in the car, and we'll stay back." So I think if you have a big group of friends, I think it is more easier that way. But see, that's the same thing, because many people have said that too about the counselors, that it can get a little repetitive, or like you said, shall. For me, I haven't found that yet, and it could be, and we're only a week into it, so who knows.
Exactly.
That I still have enough fun time with it, and I think the luck thing kind of plays into the movies, right? Because I like that some matches you could end up going the full 20 minutes and he's killing everybody else, and then sometimes you just die right away, and I kind of like that, because that kind of goes in. I like the unpredictability of it, so it's kind of a pro and con, but I like that. And the actual gameplay for the counselors, I think is good. I think you do have some bugs that kind of feel like a little Last Generation, even with Jason with the grabbing and whatnot. So I think the playstyle it's pretty basic.
The funny bug that we ran into is some guy was hanging out in a cabinet, and Jason, I guess he saw that the house was red, so he knew he was in there, and he was walking around the house, and eventually he found the cabinet the guy was in, and he just like kept hitting it. I think it was like a 5-minute timer or something they had to wait out, and it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Like I have to imagine the guy wasn't stupid. Like he probably hit every button you possibly can.
Well, yeah, and it tells you can hit X to execute.
So it was just like super glitched out. That was pretty funny. And then the next game, that same
He was
guy
in
went
the
back
same
in the
cabinet,
cabinet.
but I was able to kill him though.
Yeah.
So
Taylor knew. He just stabbed him.
Because my hope is, so far what I've seen from the developers, because I follow them on Twitter, a lot of stuff that we complain about, like, oh, when a host leaves, the entire party ends.
Yeah.
That's kind of lame. They've said, like, oh, we know that's something we're going to fix in the future. And yeah, I know lots of developers say that, but if you go to their Facebook page and you look at what this patch did, a lot of things that people want fixed, they did do. So maybe they won't be adding more content to the game, but they could be adding just more.
Just fix it for now.
Yeah, and fixing the problems and whatnot. So I think that the tough thing is with Jason, since the patch has happened, I've played more as Jason, so I'm not sure if that's just my case, but I like playing as Jason. I like playing as counselors. I guess Jason's the fun way you want to play, but I guess
it's just because it's more rare, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, if you're in a party of 9, that's the way I don't even know if it's randomized. If you're in that party of 9 for 2 hours, is it like, okay, it's random for every person in there? Like, is everyone getting a chance to play as Jason, or is it
seemed
just
like
random?
every game it was someone new, right?
True, but that's the thing of, like, let's say if it's you, me, and Taylor, right? I went the exact opposite way, but let's say Taylor gets it, I get it, and then Taylor gets it again. That's what I want to know. Is it like that, or is it, oh, everyone's going to get to play as Jason, it's just you got to stay in this party for a while? Or is it, like, actually random, where it's like, oh, it could just be anybody?
I mean, it seemed like it just, like, not necessarily moved down the list, but it seemed like it was someone different from the last game.
Yeah. So
I don't know what the formula is.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, it's a hard thing.
Obviously, people, I guess you can pick preference as counselor, too. I don't know if anyone does that.
I don't think so, no. Probably not, because then you're really not getting Jason.
You're never going to get him in.
So, yeah, like, I like the playstyle. I like the weapons. Obviously, the combat's a little, like, alright, but I don't know, it's like a horror game, so I wasn't expecting too much. I like the traps you can do. I like all the items they have, like the first aid and everything. Like, they're all items that I feel are, like, useful and fun would be in a horror game. So the actual gameplay, it is, like, a little basic, but I don't really have any problems. I don't have problems with it to the extent.
That's the thing. Like, I've had fun with it so far, but I just feel like it's gonna, like, get old pretty fast. Like that. Like, if I owned the game and I was playing it, like, maybe a few games every night or something like that, like, I feel like I'd get burned out of it in like a week or something.
Yeah, see, I haven't had that yet, just because I'm still... And for me, we'll have to wait and see once I do everything, but it's still the thing like, oh, I haven't escaped by car yet, you know, like, or I haven't done this yet. So that's why I still have this bullet point list of, oh, I haven't done that. Once I do everything, then maybe I'll hit to that point. So
that's the same for me. Like, I'm an achievement hunter. I like to collect these things in the game and unlock things. So, like, being able to unlock the special, like, Jasons and get new perks and everything to customize your characters.
Yeah.
I'm a huge sucker for that sort of thing. So, and then even so, like, in the game, like, escaping by car or by boat, just being able to find the different items and build these things, it pulls me into the world, and it just creates more replayability. Like, I'll put on the game at like 5 o'clock, and then sure enough, it's like 10:30 at night, and I don't even know where the time's going, because you're so caught up in playing, and like, the fact that you can die, but at the same time it's not really losing because you're still getting the XP to leveling up, and you still get
If
to
you
play.
stay, you two are the worst for leaving matches.
We had to stream to entertain him. We couldn't wait around.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But overall, the items, like you said, like it just feels like it has that perfect like 80s kind of tone to it. Like it feels like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly it. So I mean, when you get like the flare gun or you get like the machete or like setting up the traps or whatever, like it just, and even with it being kind of buggy at times too, like when you screw up, like it just makes for laughs. Like when I didn't put that stupid trap down and
go watch our stream what he's referring to. An actual Jason, I like all his powers. I think the shift on purpose is supposed to be a little crazy because it'd probably be too OP if you could just smoothly go. So
it's pretty OP as is.
Yeah, it is. So I like the powers they gave him. I like that he gets the rage mode halfway through. So I like what they did with him. I think there is times where I remember one match where we played where one guy was very far away and grabbed me and got me, and I was like, how could he get me? And then when I try to grab a person like right in front of me, it's a no-go.
Yeah. I would really love to see that grab hitbox and just see how stupid it is.
Yeah, so that's kind of buggy. I'm trying to think more about like play style if I have anything to say. But so far things like car-wise, that stuff I'm surprised car and like the boat are actually smooth to drive, which is kind of strange. Like when I was in the car driving for a bit, I thought it was going to be really like N64, like really buggy, slow, and
I mean it's like you just accelerate or reverse or move left or right.
You never know with simple mechanics. I played a game that everyone loves this year called Zelda, and no one still talks about the fucking horse mechanics.
Because the horses are a problem.
They're a fucking huge problem. What do we want to talk about next?
Well, let's talk more about Jason.
Mm-hmm. Great guy.
What just a great household kind of guy. Just the guy you want around.
Just wants people out of his camp. You can't blame him.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of like making an interesting moveset for like, because obviously he's supposed to move really slow, but you can still like teleport around. And I feel like shift is a bit too OP because like my first time and only time playing as Jason, like I didn't earn any of those kills. I just shifted around, spammed like every button on my controller, grabbed them, and they died. Like
you still did because they chose to leave the house. Like they could have fought you off a bit better.
Sure, but like I don't know, it just seemed like a little too easy.
Yeah,
I think it depends though, because I mean, if
I didn't have to trick anyone. I just had to follow them and like shift at them. And
if you get like stunned or you're knocked down and the counselor goes running off, you can't catch up to them. So if you shift, your shift may not even last long enough to get you there, but you can catch up. I mean, if you're lucky enough, you can get right in front of them where you can grab them, or it bugs out and you don't grab them. And
it does depend on the Jason. That's a pro that I do like that with them and the counselors. I do like that they did give them little different stats because that for me is stuff where it's not going to make it not that shallow, but if they wouldn't have like even the counselors with no stats, that to me would make the game really shallow because I do like, okay, this guy's faster, this guy has better composure. And that's the thing with Jason, there's some people that have that shift, but it's very short and whatnot. I can't remember which one we played with last night, if it was longer.
I think your Jason, he has a shorter shift. The one I use has a longer one.
Oh, I don't even know then. God, I don't even know.
The thing I don't like about Jason is that it doesn't feel scary. I think I can't, like last night we were playing and I don't remember being scared at any point because the music, it seems random. Like I don't think it actually has to do with how close or far away he is. It's just like sometimes it will play the really scary stuff. Sometimes it won't play any music.
It is a little different.
And then you always know when he's near because you get the TV flicker. I think it'd be better without that. Because then it would be scary. Like, oh shit, like you turn around and he's right behind you. Whereas you always know like that he's near. Like I think he's fun to play as and I think he's balanced sort of well, but I don't think he's scary.
I don't think he's that scary. I don't know. I don't think he's that scary, but I wasn't looking for him to be too scary just because like I thought it'd be like a horror survival game, but I wasn't expecting like a kind of like Resident Evil like jump scares and whatnot. I do think sometimes I get scared when it's like the fear of like yesterday when I'm in a room, Jason somehow got in and I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? The thing without the TV flickering, it could be more scary, but do you think it would make it much harder for the counselors, like even more so? Because I feel like Jason is on purpose.
Maybe should be harder for the counselors.
I feel like it's already hard enough though, because I feel like Jason on purpose is balanced a lot, like not like he is on purpose like a higher playstyle or whatever, like it's imbalanced on purpose for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like without that flicker, which I can agree with you, it could probably be more scary and come up on you, but I think it could be harder. That's my only worry, is like you're sitting there in a house, nothing happens, and then you just hear footsteps, you turn and he's already in there.
Well, I think it's a little bit imbalanced. Like I think the Jason against counselor like combat is really good when you're like in a house or a roundhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like really, really, really favored for Jason if you're outside and you're just like running around.
Yeah.
Like, but I think the combat of like the, you know, going in and out of a house, juking out because he can't go through the windows, but you can. But you can put traps out the windows, or you can break the windows. You take damage on the way out. Like I think that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just think when you're outside, like just because shift is so good, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess that's the key. You really don't want to.
And I like that we can just stand in front of your car and break it. And then...
Yeah.
I don't understand why he is a fucking mermaid though. Like that kind of is confusing to me.
I would kind
Because
of.
you can't really see what he's doing. He's just under the water. Like I actually. I don't know what that's like. What's that like from Jason's perspective?
Have you been underwater, Jason?
I don't think so. No.
It's what is it? Like you can you're like I think it's like a red dot that you see, because I had to chase a boat once. And it was very difficult. But you don't see your Jason at all. You just see like you're on the top of the water,
and you
it's
see like a shadow.
You're on like you don't even see the shadow thing. You're at like water level, and you're just zooming along. It kind of looks like a first person view almost. It's really weird.
I wish I got to check that out, because he seems like really strong in the water.
He's incredibly fast. Like you're not as fast as the boat, but you are really fast.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, because then the counselor doesn't have any chance in the water to escape.
No, they don't.
The water, I think, is a little. I think that's a little too OP, because even when Jason can catch up to the boat, for me, that's a little much.
You almost can. It's still the boat's faster. But I guess it depends on the Jason.
Yeah, and I feel like it depends when he gets in the water. That always caught me off guard too, because with the lore of Jason, most Jasons like are afraid of water, so that kind of caught me off guard when he can just jump in and then get him. So that to me was like a little.
I understand from like a gameplay reason why they made him.
Yeah, because they could anytime you got on a boat or you got in the water, it's over, right?
Yeah,
so
you win.
yeah,
Just have a pool party and you win the game.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, you have any thoughts on Jason that you want to throw out there?
I mean, he's definitely
You love his throwing knife.
I love his throwing
I
knives.
do too, though. Now, as I use them more, I do like that you have those in the traps. I like that.
I like, for me, each Jason having a different weapon to use and having different killing animations. Like your Jason has the axe, mine has a spear, and then the other one has
lots
the
of
machete.
options too.
There's lots of options, and like they all share like the common killing animations, but then each Jason has their own selection of ones that you can get. I think overall the variety is awesome, especially with their abilities. The shift is like, I'm still trying to get better at working at the timing, because it is tricky. But I mean, morphing and the throwing knives, the stalker is still, we're trying to figure that out. But
Well, we figured it out that it just takes away stuff like because there is a specific music when Jason gets there, so you can't like hear his footsteps. That music's gone, and you can't. I think it was something like you can't hear him just move or whatnot. So they can still see you, but it's just they take everything that would alert. And I think maybe it takes away. See, that I think might take the flicker of the TV away. I have to check that out, but that might take it away if you're in stalker mode.
Yeah.
Don't know that 100%, but that's what I read was it. Other than sight, it takes everything else away that a counselor would know you're around. So,
games like Assassin's Creed, where you like kind of set like the environment to your kind of desire to like take out your targets. That's one of the things that really pulls me in this. So like as Jason, when I can set like traps outside a window or two, and then I can go around to another part of the house and flush them out to where I want them to go. It's just, it feels so much more satisfying knowing that your plans and your strategies work in this sense.
well,
and even as a counselor, you can do that too.
That's what I feel like because I've seen different strategies where everyone on the map just literally stays together, and if Jason comes, they're gonna take him out. I've seen where people go together and then they'll split up. Like I have seen people use different strategies, and that's why I like that. Obviously, that's not a game thing; that's a person thing. But I like that you have that available. And same thing like the Jason, you can either be like, "Hey, you're just gonna break in the door and go in there," or you just like, for me, I like to sneak around. I'll literally, if I can just stand outside a door and wait for 2 minutes, they think I'm gone, then I just pop and get them. That's what I like to do. So it's like you do have different ways you can play, which I do like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. My favorite part is just being able to unlock the new Jasons. I think that's one of my favorite things. I hope that they add like more varieties, like they threw in Jason X for the hell of it, or just something.
It will
like
be
that.
interesting because even then I was wondering for DLC if they'll add more or if they're gonna do a second game. Because the only reason I thought that now, and obviously because it was successful, is because I was looking at this the company. It's like either it's II Phonic or 111 Phonic, but they've made some games. I don't think anything too like. They made Sonic Boom, Rise of the Lyric. They made Star Citizen. They made Nexu. How would you say that? Nexuiz. So not
What
anything.
prompts you to think that they do a second game?
Well, the only reason that's why I was gonna say looking their stuff up. The original title for this game was called Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp. So my thing was, I think their plan was to do Slasher
Different
Volume 2
locations.
different locations. So that's where I could see them either doing Jason in in a sequel or maybe DLC in other places, or like we talked about offcast, something that maybe people will see this be like, hey, do you want to make a Nightmare on Elm Street game? Do you want to make a Halloween game? Because those games have just as much of a lineage that you could do different versions of Freddy, different versions of Michael. Well, Michael, he doesn't change up that much. But
so with how successful this is, like if they did put out a sequel, would you buy it? And like if they put it up like to a regular price game, would that like deter you at all?
it's the exact same reason I had for Battlefront, where I didn't I got why people complain about Battlefront, but for me it was like they're up front. They're like, hey, this is a game that's gonna be online. I bought that because hey, I want to be online. I want to shoot stormtroopers, and it looked beautiful, and I had a fun time. I don't regret that. But I remember saying with Battlefront 2, I always said if it's the same game, like if it's just an online game, I won't be around. I'm not looking for, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm not looking for 20-hour campaign of Jason, and you can go through his trials and tribulations. I just want the regular price. Let's take that out because I'd have to see, because I'd probably lean no because if it was similar to this. So if it was just still 40, I'd have to see what they did. If it was just more maps, I probably wouldn't. I probably would maybe if it was on sale or something down the line, but I wouldn't at full price. It was just like, okay, now you can play the version of Jason when he's on the boat, when he's in space, things like that, because it's pretty much the same game. Or if it's like, hey, we've changed this up with the gameplay, we've fixed a lot of bugs, we've made it so you can do this now. So I would be open to it, but I'd have to see how they expanded upon it. And that's the other thing we have talked
Seems
about.
like something that should be just a DLC, really.
Yeah. But this is one thing we haven't talked about, which they haven't been look into and see if they said anything more. I don't know if it's just going to be just an AI thing, but I will say a con for me, even though now concessions are working, that's great. So at first when it wasn't working, this was a huge con for me. I do wish there was an AI single player mode.
Yeah.
The only reason is I feel that when you are playing the game online, I feel like the learning curve, and you're gonna play a lot, so it's fine. But I feel like it's not that nice to you. Like you have there's that how to play, right, and there's a tutorial that tells you everything on slides. I don't like that. I don't open up the game manuals back in the day and read
Not very
them.
interactive. Yeah.
And to me, we joke about it all the time. Like Taylor when he's talking about how he loved the Pokken tutorial. For me, most games don't really need a tutorial or can be really quick. I think this would have been great to have a single player where you could play as AI, and maybe even you just play as AI, you could use that as the tutorial. Because for me, there's stuff when you're playing as a counselor, until you play as Jason or you see someone play as Jason, I feel you still are missing out on stuff. So Shift, when he appears, you don't know how that works. I think you need to play as them both to see what they can and can't do, and I think that's a hindrance of the game because there's not a thing where you could be like, oh, let me do a tutorial as Jason and a tutorial as the counselor. Okay, now I know how it goes. Because online, for a while, I played as Jason once. My first night I played for about 6 hours. Played as him once, and there's so much stuff I learned from playing as Jason. Be like, oh, okay, so when they run like this, I can see their heartbeat. I wish there was a tutorial or single player. I know they said there's gonna be single player in the summer. They said they're gonna add. I don't know what that's gonna be. Honestly, I don't know if it is just the AI thing. That's why while you guys are talking, I'll look and see if they say anything more. But I'll say that was a con for me. I wish there was a tutorial or AI. And usually I don't need a tutorial, but I felt like this game. I felt like it kind of needed it.
Yeah,
So,
you should be able to hop in you can't hop in your own private match by yourself.
I don't think so. I've never tried it, but I don't think so.
Like create your own private match?
No, well, yeah,
Can
but
you
could
create
you
your own
just
private match and
go
then
by
just single
yourself?
play it?
If it's just you, I don't think so, because you need someone to hunt, right?
You need someone.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any sort of computers in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty lame. You'd certainly want that. When my first few games, I still had no idea how. I was just asking you guys, how does Jason work? How does he know where I am, and how does he move like this and stuff? I mean, like I said earlier, like it is pretty simple, so it's not that difficult to learn. But still, like I don't know how the stock works. Like I don't really know what it does. But
well, that's what I mean. I think once you learn them, they're simple. But that's the thing of when you don't get to play as Jason that much. That's the problem of like I think the counselors. If it was just hey, you just play as the counselors, I think you wouldn't need a tutorial. But because you play as both, I think it would be needed. This is what they have on their official website. It says the game will include single player. However, it'll come as an update in summer 2017. We originally started this game as a multiplayer only game, but we were able to secure additional funding to expand the game. Single player will consist of an objective based missions where you take control of Jason. You'll get to see missions that will remind you from the movies, as well as entirely new scenarios you can sink your machete into. We will also include offline counselor bots that you'll be able to fight against without needing online connection. So that is a good thing for me.
Yeah.
I wish they would have launched with it, but I get we talk about Kickstarter, right? It's something they probably didn't have at the beginning.
Yeah.
I
imagine like programming AI for a game like this would be a little weird.
Yeah, because like usually most of the things you're doing with the counselor are stuff in your mind, right? Like go out this game or go out this door, go out this window. So I don't know how the single player is gonna be. It'll be a good thing to talk about in the summer. Like we won't do another review, but something we can talk about on cast.
Yeah, for sure.
It sounds fun, the objective based missions, but it could also just be something really just kind of lame and simple, like just kill this person with an axe this way. So
I wonder if that'll be paid. Did they say if that's paid DLC? Or
I don't think it's gonna be though. From what I've heard, I could be wrong, but I think they're just adding it.
To me, that when you read that, it sounds like kind of like with Alien Isolation, you have the main game, and then you have like the extra missions where you play as Ripley and you're escaping and you have to trap the alien. And it's like the last 5 minutes of the original Alien movie. So you're playing out scenarios like that.
I think that's what it'll be like.
That's incredible. Like, it's awesome. So I feel like for this game to replay those scenarios, even more cool. You're pulled into the movie experience, and you just then, like they said, you can create your own experiences too by reliving these moments.
And if that's something that comes with it, great. I don't know if that's something, if it didn't come with it, I would purchase. I would have to see. But reliving moments for me is like, oh, that's great, but I could just put in that's why I like the game, because I get to create like the new moments. I don't need to be like, oh, I gotta get, I don't know,
Counselor Bob.
I gotta get Kevin Bacon, like I gotta kill him. Like,
that'd
no, I
cool.
don't need that. He's in the first Friday 13th.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so like something
fun scenario, kill Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, so like I would like that in the game, but I don't know if I need to pay for that. So
right. Well, you don't think that they'll charge for this?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I'm saying if they did, then I'd be like, you guys have to really sell me this. I don't think they will. So, and that's my one hope of them. Hopefully, maybe just adding more content as things go along. Because I could see, let's say next year, right when let's say the game starts to die down in 6 months. Around that time, they announce, hey, in 2 to 3 months, we're putting out 3 more maps. I could see that spiking and people playing it immediately. I could see it being like, not as big, of course, but like a Minecraft where it's like stuff's always adding. And
that's like the Rockstar. Obviously, it's a very different sort of situation. But Rockstar, like, till this day, they're still putting new content.
I had notification today
for free. I don't even know if there's any paid DLC for that game. I think it's
a little bit.
It's rare though. Like the percentage is very high.
There's a ridiculous amount of like free additional content.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I just had a tweet promoted on my Twitter of just like, oh, this new gunning DLC free. Like, and that's where
each one is kind of minor, but when you add them all together, it's like there's a shit ton of new stuff in there.
Yeah, and I think if they did that, I think that would be a smart approach, because I think then people 6 months later would buy the game.
Yeah.
Like, they're adding more. People are still playing.
After the first couple of updates where people see like, they're actually doing this, they're actually just adding this content for free, like, hell yeah, I'll buy this game now, because there's even more stuff coming out too, right?
And I think it would be smart.
And I mean, like, by that point, you have to imagine, by the time those first like additional downloads come out, the game will hopefully be like a lot more bug free.
Yeah, it already is since that patch. Like, look at when we did.
The finding sessions got a whole lot better just in like 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that.
Well, it was 1 week. Yeah. Which we went from a session one time where we waited around for an hour, didn't get anything. Where last night you guys could leave matches and jump in. So that's my hope of that. They are fully, because they are a smaller studio. This is their bread and butter, that they'll be supporting. And to me, I hope that they do, and I hope the only reason they would make a new game is if, like I said, they're like, okay, we have the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street.
I mean, they seem like a pretty cool company. Like, a lot of games, they'll kind of release a version, like, because this to me doesn't really feel like a totally finished game. Like, it's almost there, but
it feels
not
like
quite.
a 75%.
Yeah, 75%. And a lot of companies put out a game 75%. People are like, this game sucks,
and
then
quiet,
and then they move on, and the game dies. So I'm glad that this game's popular, because it gives them the opportunity and the motivation to fix all these bugs, and then eventually down the line, when they're through with that, to put the additional content in that they probably wanted to do originally, but they're like, we got to cut that so we can actually get this game out in a reasonable time, right?
Well, and that's what I like. That's why I follow them on Twitter, because constantly there's people, they answer people all the time, like, hey, fixing this. Same thing with the patch. They would say, like, hey, the plan is to have it out by the end of this week, but we don't know a day. We're working on it as hard as possible, and that's where it is good. And yeah, it sucks. I wish I could have played it a lot more sooner, but now the patch is there. I'm playing and having fun. But it is better than that developer that goes quiet and you feel like you've been like chipped out money, where it's like, oh, I spent $50 on this, especially with a Kickstarter, like a small developer, like I support you guys, and now it's like not really getting anything back as far as support. So just from what I've seen the first week, that's my hope, that they're gonna support this game even more, and that's where it's gonna be fun and to actually like watch this as it goes along to see what they do, because this could, like I said, this could open up something like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Like this could be a new thing, because it's pretty basic, but you could take the skins of those and something we were talking about like Nightmare, that you could do supernatural aspects, because there are characters in those movies that like get powers, and there's a wizard master, so like there's a whole, it could be a big thing. So I'm excited to see what the future of this game is, in the future in general of this company could be. So
kind of on the note, like you mentioned it, I think it was yesterday, but like not exactly like DLC, but like on like if it was like a Friday the 13th out of the month,
double
and
XP.
they do double XP,
that's what they should do.
Those kinds of things.
That's
just
what GTA
events
does,
or whatever.
yeah.
I think that would be amazing, because that would get more people into it.
Well, because that's what I do. Like I love GTA, but after a while I stopped playing online. But every once in a while I was like, oh, double XP week. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna jump back on, because I'm not hardcore now. There's probably people in like the hundreds of levels.
Oh yeah, there's people in hundreds of levels like within a fucking week.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with me. I know.
Actually, not within a week, because the game like didn't have online for a while.
Yeah. I know I'm not going to do that, but now when there's a double XP week, I'm like, oh, I haven't played GTA in a while. Why not jump on and get some stuff? So, Dylan, or do you have anything else we want to follow before we get into our final thoughts?
Not really.
No? Dylan, what are just your final last thoughts? I know we've probably said most of it, but...
Yeah, like overall, I think it's a pretty fun game. If you really like Friday the 13th, and you're going to absolutely love this game, if you don't, it's like you'll still have fun with it. Playing
go to your friend's place.
Go to your friend's place, play with some friends, and just mess around, laugh at the stupid stuff. Like I've had fun with it so far. It's a game that doesn't have a ton of depth, but
I wasn't expecting it to, right? Like
I don't think it really needs to. Maybe for the price, it should be a little more deep, but whatever. If you want like I said earlier, it's not really scary, so if you're looking for a scary game, this is probably not the one for you. But if you're looking for a Friday the 13th game, then this is the game for you. It's pretty good.
I think this is the best game we're ever going to get.
Yeah,
called Friday the 13th.
Might be the best one you could currently have, and you might ever get. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
No, I said already, it's the funnest game I've played this year. I have a good time, and I'll keep up with it. I'll see how I am in a few months. Maybe I will be like, I'm kind of over it, but we'll see if they keep supporting. That'd be great. But yeah, there is some bugs, there is some issues, but I had a good time. I'm looking forward to the future playing this. Like we've talked about, like in November doing 24-hour streams, and not even like that. For me, it's like this is a game like when you have a lot of people over for Avalon. Sometimes there's Smash going on, other video games. Like this is a game where if I had 10 to 20 people over, people would stand around the TV and watch, because there is. Every time we play, it is like watching a horror movie. You're like, why'd you go through that door? Like, why'd you... Like, we all have our play styles. And for me, that's what I've seen so far, and that's where I think it could have... I don't think it will completely die out, but I think that's where it could even have still a bit of a life continuing. It's just that people will bust it out when it's like, hey, there's a birthday party. Oh, have you seen this Friday the 13th game yet? No. Like, same thing, like, Liam's coming down in a couple weeks, and it's like, oh, I really want to see that. So that's where it's like, people might not buy it, but there might be enough interest to keep people streaming and playing, and... This is a game I would bust out during a party on my Switch, like break it out and be like, oh, let's watch this, let's play. Because even when you're dead, you're just laughing and having a good time. So yeah, this is, like I said, it's not the best game of the year for me, but it might be my favorite. If it didn't have Friday the 13th, I would give it like a 7. I'm giving it an 8. The 2 is kind of some of the cons of throwing out glitches. There's no tutorial. I get that because they're going to add it, but still, it's what I'm ranking it right now, right? So I was around the 8 spectrum of like a good solid B. Luckily, I did not regret the purchase, and that was my biggest concern going. I was like, oh, I'm going to spend this and it's going to suck. I'm like, I'm never doing this again, but...
For me, I absolutely love this game. Like, as I said, I'm hooked, I'm addicted. I love playing again and again and again. Like, time just...
You're a very addictive personality.
I am. The time just flies by when I'm playing. Like, it's so much fun, and I like it would be definitely more fun playing with friends, like in the game itself. Like I have a blast playing with you guys, and it's just one
Oh my
person
goodness.
playing at a time. But I can
We're the tier
imagine.
3 friends.
Yeah. If we're lucky.
I can imagine just it's a much more in-depth experience playing in game with your friends.
I wish I had friends, man.
I'm the only one that I know that has it on Xbox One, so
Wow.
Sucks to suck.
Doesn't
No.
even mention Jessica. Brutal.
well, she doesn't have it for Xbox
That's what
One.
he said. Who like has the game?
I thought you said has an Xbox.
No, I won't go that
Kyle
far.
too. All the
Okay.
shade thrown at the poor guys.
But it's an awesome experience. I'm gonna keep on playing it. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
I thought a 10 was
because
going for sure.
I want to give it a 10, but it's just it did have those bugs, and I'm gonna give it that extra 0.5 because, as you said, like they've been so responsive. They don't leave you hanging high and dry. They're very quick
High
to let
and
you know
dry.
what's going on, and I think that's incredible for a developer to do for the community. And I'm giving it again a high rating because yes, I really enjoy it, but this is my first game I've gotten from a Kickstarter project before. So I've never
Mine too, actually.
I've never really known what to expect, but this has blown my expectations and more. So
Well,
it's
don't
great.
get that way with every
It's blown your
Kickstarter game.
expectations.
No, I won't with every Kickstarter game. This one, like just specifically.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you survived
Mhm.
like the counselors did
Yep.
throughout this. You can check out, we got a lot of stuff by the time this come out. We just reviewed The Mummy.
We're gonna go
Hopefully,
see that right after
hopefully we loved it. You know,
Hopefully.
I
It's a
don't
pretty
know.
big hope.
Yeah, it's a big hope. If you're into video games, probably because you're watching this, E3 is this weekend. I'm very excited. That's the reason we started this podcast. Last year was lots of fun. We are watching and breaking down every conference.
every
conference.
in the world.
So if you go, you can go watch EA, and then the second EA is done, pop over
Yeah.
to this channel right now, and then you can see it live. We'll be there. We can take questions. We'll be breaking it down, everything like that. We'll probably be doing a watch along Facebook. So if you want to see our
True
pretty
enough.
mugs and see our
We
reactions
won't
and stuff.
leave you high and dry.
No, we won't leave you high and dry. So we're doing a podcast and YouTube video for every conference, and we don't throw out a 15.
Except for maybe PC. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see timing wise, but we don't throw out a 15-minute like, oh, we kind of like it. We get in depth. We break it down.
We talk
so-
about the nuggets.
exactly.
Depends if we get as good a host for PC as we did last year.
Oh
I
boy.
can't remember.
Anyways, tune in this weekend. Promise you won't be boring. I was gonna plug the links, but we don't have time for the links. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Bye.
You can go down below. They're all there. Thank you.
Oh, what time is it?
It is 6. So.